join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing. Lord, we thank you for this great first day of school, for this new year. We thank you that our students and our staff and everyone was excited and enjoyed a good day, even with the bumps in the road that happen on first days. We ask that you would smooth over the rest of this week, and that you would pave a path for our, everyone on campus this year, that it would be safe, that it would be beneficial, and that there would be lots of memories made amongst the kids, and there would be just some really great things to happen on our campus this year. We thank you for your protection and the oversight you give us all. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. With that, we will call our meeting to order. And the first thing on our agenda is the consent agenda, which the board has had a chance to look over the minutes from the last meeting and the last month's bills. If there are no questions from board members, we will consider.
We got a Cobra Pride.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I skipped right over that.
The district.
I sure did. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and consent agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Do you have questions?
On the bills, it shows a couple different expenses to the same person. One of them's like $19,500, and the other one is like $4,000.
Okay. So tell me which page you're looking
I'm
at.
pulling it up right now.
Let's.
Is that All-American Riddell? As a track?
No, what is that?
Fire access.
Okay, there it is.
19,866 All-American, right?
No, 133233. Osman Guevara.
Osmond. That's our painter. Different areas on campus. He did a football field, did the Agri building, elementary buildings, other spots around campus.
Okay.
So if he's ever in one spot, like say that one area is going to be over $20,000, and yes, we can get board approval, but those are just separate areas across campus.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Any other questions on there? Okay. So those two items, the minutes and the bills, will be approved by unanimous consent. And we will back up a step and we will do, see, I was looking at the notes page and
Sorry.
just skip right over that. That's okay. We don't have to go in order. So we have a Cobra Pride Award, and this is for National Beta District of Distinction Award. Who is going to tell us about that?
Mr. Campbell, you can kind of explain what that is.
Letter came each of our buildings. We have elementary, junior, and high school, senior high beta, and each one of those were designated as a school of distinction. And so since all of our schools were designated as schools of distinction, the district then is designated as a district of distinction for the efforts that our students and sponsors put in making Beta Club a success. And you've had them in front of you a number of times and seen the things they do. So.
Yes. And so I'm curious, do we know how many districts of distinction are there in the state?
No.
Okay. I was just curious because it seems like that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Well, I think, the board's position on sponsorship in all three buildings. Originally, we had middle school, high school, we've added the elementary component, and so by having all three schools involved, it allowed us the opportunity to be recognized. So that's what kind of brought this to this point. So since it's a district level award, what we usually do is get a picture. So if you'd step up here, we'll get a picture.
Okay. And this is the award for, pick up that here. This is the award that our school received.
Here, let's move over out of
And
the
let's
light.
get out of that. Here, you got it?
Yeah,
Hang on to
I've got it.
It comes in two pieces, so I don't want to drop it.
Here, just be right here in front of this. All right.
Get up here, Cindy.
No, get up.
You're good now, Cindy.
My parents hold up.
Thank you.
Hold on, we only.
They're all hot and ready. What is it you would
Dana found an article that there was 42 districts.
In Arkansas, that's awesome. Out of 240-ish.
Yeah, there was an article in June that listed
Wow.
42.
Wow. So that's a really big award for our district. And I'm really proud of our beta clubs,
You bet.
campus-wide. So we'll have a place to display that somewhere here in the admin office,
Sure.
somewhere. I don't know where it'll be. It'll be here. So if parents want to come see it, it'll be here on display. All right, so let's move into our building reports. And it might really just be about how did you survive today? I don't know. Let's start with Miss Curry.
Sure. Well, we had a really, actually pretty successful day overall. I want to thank Ms. Freeman for creating our slides. She's not in here with us, but she is still on campus.
Okay.
But day one was a really big success. All the kids got on campus and off campus safely, which is our goal on the first day of school. So we only had maybe one crier, so not bad. Little logistics around lunchtimes and things like that, but overall a really good success. It was really good to see our kids smiling and our staff members were excited. So we had a great day. And we were done with the car rental line at 3:33, so it's pretty good for day one.
Wow, that is good. And everybody got on the right bus? You worry more about your little people.
But that's always expected the first week, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad y'all had a good day.
Yes,
Hope it's a great week.
we did. But Mr. Campbell had asked us just to put together a few little slides since we didn't have our report for this week. And so these were just some things that we, were, our theme this year is Game On. I'm sure you've probably seen that. So these are just some things that our staff has been working on, doing, this summer and then back at our PD right before school started. So as you know, we have our, new curriculum. So we unpacked that this summer. You see our teachers working there with Ms. Fournier, our lead teacher, Ms. Bean was there, the specialist, and then Ms. Freeman and I. So our whole staff had hands-on for that. So that was a really productive week. And so that's just us strengthening our Tier 1 instruction and looking at that data to start our school year off. Then we had a really cool team building day. We went to the main event in Little Rock, just strengthening our teams, getting to know each other, and because we do a lot of collaboration throughout the year. We have quite a few new people on staff. So that was a really great day for us. And then slide 3, I think. We did have a speaker on campus that actually spoke to the whole staff, K-12 from Thrive, or from Aware, Arkansas, just talking about some mental health things that our staff, we felt that it would be really important that they take part in. And so we talked about adverse childhood experiences, and then just talking about personality types. And so that was kind of really impactful for the whole district K-12. We heard a lot of really good comments. We had gone through that at our Thrive training back in the summer, so we felt that would be good on campus for the rest of our staff. Some new things coming along. We do have a new elementary Facebook page. We have a little monthly newsletter we'll send home, and I have a little website team, so we'll have some frequent website updates. I am also going to start Coffee with the Principal coming up. Try to do that monthly, just like an informal roundtable discussion with our parents. Just, some simple topics like maybe attendance, the importance of school, and just kind of listen to them and see kind of what do they need from us. So really excited about that. Haven't had one yet, but probably let's get August moving and school started, and then we'll start with that. So that is something new that I will be putting out to our parents, and I'm very excited about that. We also have some different parental involvement activities planned this year about our parents coming into the classrooms and kind of taking part in some instructional projects. So we're excited about that too.
Nice.
These are our first day pictures, overall success. So thank you to the Garland County Sheriff's Office. They came out and helped us unload cars this morning, and pretty much everybody in this room also helped manage car rider lines and just get people on campus and all. So yeah, that's our kindergarten team. So that was at the beginning of the day, and of course that's the end. So we just thought that was funny.
Oh, They survived. Awesome. Well, we look forward to some great things coming out of your.
It's gonna be a great year.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Inman, tell us
Okay.
about the middle school and
Yes, so our theme is FLMS Rocks, so we are all kind of just going with that. We couldn't think of anything cuter than that, so that's what we went with. And the slides were fun. So we did a lot of the same back to school PD. I'm sure you remember an extremely large purchase that we made last year called Canvas, and so we spent an entire day and then part of another day trying to learn our new software system that we will be utilizing and piloting as a middle school. We will be doing a soft launch during first 9 weeks, and then we will fully launch at semester. Just giving teachers a really good time to build their courses and getting comfortable with all of that. We also have a new SEL program, social and emotional learning, called Character Strong. And so that will be replacing our advisory, we'll still be using our Leader in Me as a support, but it will be supplementing our Leader in Me time during advisory. And then just some pictures from the ACES training and AWARE, and of course Lou, because everyone loves Lou.
Yes.
And so then we did host a 5th grade orientation the week before open house, and that was a really great success, and so we plan to do that again. It really gave the 5th graders some one-on-one time with myself and Mr. Freeman to really understand the differences between elementary and middle with a parent meeting, and then they all got to get their schedules a week in advance and go around the campus, and that was just a whole lot of fun. They really felt a lot more comfortable. And it also helped our traffic tremendously on open house night, because last year we had a stream of people wrapped all the way around the safe room, and this year we got them all in the building and were able to serve them much better with having 5th grade separated out.
Did you have good participation?
We
from
did.
parents?
We had 64% of our parents were in attendance
Good.
on orientation, so that's really excellent.
That's-
I thought.
Certainly helps smooth things over for the first week.
Yeah, no, and then those that weren't able to come to orientation then came to open house. And so by the first day, pretty much every 5th grader already knew where they're going, what they're doing. So it was good. Our team building day, I love the lake, if you know me well. So we took the whole staff to the lake. We rented Ark Isle and we had our team building day there. My husband brought our party barge out and we tubed and we visited and we did boat rides, and they had all sorts of things. We had smoking and style barbecue, and everybody just had a really good time, visiting with each other and getting to relax. And we did some team building activities. Our favorite thing that we did, it was called speed dating. And so we have 7 new staff members, and so I would ask them a question, set a timer for 30 seconds, and they would share with the other person, and it was really loud in there. It was a lot of fun. Really good day. So we're thankful for the opportunity for that.
Ark Isle is a really cool place.
It is, and I would like to update everyone, if you've not been there in a while, they now have air conditioning.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so a lot of people are like, oh, they don't have AC. Well, yes, they do. They have got an upgrade. So, yes,
Yeah, it's a really neat place.
it was a lot of fun.
It looked like it was a lot of fun. Good. All right, Mr. J, what was happening in the high school?
Well, one, I forget to pull out a camera, so, yeah, it's all right. We did start with new teacher orientation. We had 9th grade orientation a week ago, last Tuesday. Had our 9th graders and their parents come up. Had opportunity to just kind of visit with them, give them the break into high school and credit bearing, yeah. So, of course, open house on Thursday night. And then we started on Monday. Dr. Robin Finley presented with our staff with Chat GPT and AI. Very interesting.
Yeah,
So, yeah, all those things like Terminator and iRobot, they are coming to fruition very quickly.
Yeah.
When you get into a vehicle and it drives itself down the road, we're going to be in trouble here in a little while. So,
All of us oldies in the room are
when
fearful
she's
of that.
typing in, write a paper that's on the 7th grade level or 2nd grade level or junior level. That becomes very, very interesting as we're going to. She also talked a little bit about social media and how it affects educators. things you should post and just be kind of cautious of.
Right.
Tuesday, we were able to do a building day with us, integrated our new teachers in there, and of course, you know, rock, paper, scissors is a great competition to get some people up and moving, and you can tell there's some very competitive people in there, and the winner was Andy King's.
She's not competitive at all. I just want to go on the record. No.
Definitely not. But a really good week. Today was a great day with our kids. Yeah, that was a great visit from the U.S. Army up out of Texarkana. Kind of highlight the careers and opportunities that the Army and the military offer for our kids. Mr. Robinson and I attended an educational tour this summer, and we learned a lot. And I always tell people, being the son of a former military person, my dad served in the 60s, so when he got out, things have changed, especially with the GI Bill, and didn't have a clue. So really excited those guys came up, volunteered to come up, fed us lunch, and then of course had to leave, you know, leading from the top there, caught Dr. Murphy stacking chairs and tables, because we had to clear that safe room out as quickly as we could. So
It looked like he was moving fast.
Yeah, he is.
he was a blur.
It looks like that was just posed for that.
You set me up, Craig.
Hey, you didn't know it, so.
Surprise. Well, we're all glad to hear that's been a really good day today. I know, there's a lot of year ahead of us, but it always helps when things kick off to a good start. So thank you for those slides and those updates about what y'all been doing this summer. It's very informative. Thank you. Dr. Murphy.
As we get ready to go into a financial review, just a couple of comments. One, a reminder that the dismissal time has changed in terms of a 3:10 dismissal. And then on Wednesdays, we'll dismiss 1 hour earlier at 2:10. So that's a 10-minute variance from where we were at a year ago. Running the routes this morning, we had buses arriving on campus roughly at 7:45. And car riders started dropping, parents could drop their children off at 7:30. So just a couple of logistical issues there. Just wanted to go back and echo that there is a change to kind of our procedures on both the arrival and the dismissal timeframes. And overall, the light ran in an automated fashion throughout the day. There's not any manual signalization associated with that, so our buses pulled up. When we watched them leave, we were able to pull all the buses off the campus in 2 tiers of the light. And the very last bus, Mr. Campbell got caught and had to wait through the 3rd light, but we were able to move the buses in that regard. This morning, we didn't have to have anyone on the highway at all. Chief Riley did step out for the afternoon dismissal onto the roadway, and as the only person on the roadway this evening whenever we dismissed in that regard.
Will RDOT give us the ability to control that light?
At this point in time, the automation is the direction that we'll be working. So at this point, the answer to that would be no.
Because, I'm thinking football games.
Right.
And,
So,
does it take long to trigger that plate?
so as we think of AI and we think of everything, automation is better than manual in the context of the
Right.
technology. So with the technology existing, it has a visual view as well as an automated weight sensor off of face and drive. And of course, it does give leeway to the highway traffic. But it seems to respond relatively quickly to people entering onto the highway. So I just wanted to share those comments. I too would echo that as far as the start was reflective of everyone's work as a team. The communication, locations where people were at allowed for us to keep traffic flowing without any true bottlenecks on our campus. And so just want to thank the administrative team for all the work getting up to the school day start. And it was a first day, and things will pattern out and get much better, but probably the best first day that I've been able to witness since I've been here as far as people being able to drop their children off and be out of here by 8 o'clock. We had very few people on our campus, just a few elementary car riders, a little 5 after 8. I think that was all pretty much done. So,
Everybody was,
yeah, so that's a general summary of that. And from a district perspective, I don't know if Mr. Campbell, but we did address everyone coming back as well on the first day in the afternoon. And, you know, we felt as though with the work centered around what the buildings were doing, I thought it was a good time to kind of allow our teachers to see and hear from the commissioner. And so a part of what we did is allow for the commissioner, he presented at AAEA, which is our state summer conference, and we allowed him to kind of convey the state of the state and the rationale behind LEARNs. And so we spent quite a bit of time echoing and thinking about that, but in the simplification of things that we can change. And the immediacy is, you know, chronic absenteeism is, for many families, a very real issue, and it's defined if you miss 2 days a month. You can be defined as chronically absent if you do that within the confines of the year. And then the statistical data is centered around just through chronic absenteeism, how much those children need to have response to intervention and how they fall behind so quickly, especially in those primary age years. Anyone want to take a guess, K through 12, what the most chronically absent grade level is?
K through 12?
Yeah. That would be defined as 18 days of absence or more.
6th grade.
Surprisingly, 1/4 of all kindergartners in the state of Arkansas are absent. 1 out of every 4 kindergartners in the entire state is chronically absent.
Wow.
So that's the largest grade level, and so we want to ensure that things happen. We know that illnesses occur, but you know, I would say that it's not a matter of policy; it's a matter of their learning.
Right.
And so we have to critically look at how and respect the importance of attending school.
Mm-hmm.
Secondarily, that A was for attendance, B being for behavior. We did kind of a district level initiative where the administrators went through Thrive and really looking at how we meet kids where they're at. And as a board, you saw some of the varying levels of significance of behavioral challenges that we face, even what you saw last year in the boardroom in executive session dealing with individual instances. So behavior remains to be an issue on a statewide basis. And then of course the final would be the element of comprehension. And so in his messaging, it aligned very tightly with the work of our buildings, and I felt like it would be relevant for all of our teachers and paras to kind of hear from that perspective, and that kind of set the tone to get us started here for the school year. So got a few financials I want to kind of go over with you tonight to kind of be reflective of how we want to think about setting up the budgetary year moving forward. So just kind of looking at July, these are expenditures that we are encompassing, but the areas that I want you to kind of look at that you'll be able to kind of control what your beginning balances will be resetting that back what's called period 13, and that would be determining how much money you want in the building fund versus Fund 2. So let's just kind of, let's look on the left-hand side and let's look at Fund 1. And you can see that there's, for us to make that parenthesis go away, that needs to become a 0. The only way that will occur is with a transfer of $12,000 out of Fund 2. So there'd be a slight reduction. The other visual that I would show you there is that down in the activity fund, we can't hold balances related to charges. If you recall the food service balances that I told you about, those would have to be deducted to get to a new Fund 2 starting balance. look at Fund 3 for just a moment, and then I'm going to hand you out a cheat sheet. And we'll go through these numbers in the cheat sheet form. But, you know, in July, we were still residing with roughly $1.1 million in the building fund. And we made kind of that first turf payment and another couple of projects. There was 2 other projects that I ran through Fund 3 to get us to $512,000. That took your ending Fund 3 balance to $649,000. So that sets the stage to where's those balances at, and what do we want them to look like as we enter into this budgetary cycle that we will approve a budget coming into September. So give you 2 sheets of paper to kind of think about, and a recommendation with this. We'll just walk through in one of those. Cindy, give one to Mr. Campbell. He doesn't have a copy of that. One page, please.
I'm going, hey.
The principals are good to go back to their
Yes.
buildings and dig them
Yes.
out, aren't they?
Thank you. Appreciate your attendance.
Yeah, if y'all need to go do, y'all head on. Thank you for being here and for giving us the
Yes.
report. Yeah.
So everybody got the sheet? Let's start at the very top and let's see if we can find the number on our left, or excuse me, the number on the right, which is 3,202,000. Okay, so you see that number in the inception. What I'm trying to convey here is things that have not been applied to July that are happening now at the first part of August. Okay? So a couple of things that we have to clean up. The $12,493, that's mentioned there as a transfer to Fund 1. And then we worked pretty hard during orientation, but we need to get more people to take advantage of the free and reduced lunch program, because we had outstanding food service meals charged at $37,949 that we'll have to, by law, write off to open up the new year. So that's K-12 charges that have to come off our local effort. Keep in mind that legislatively by law, there's no longer an alternative meal, there's no longer anything that's placed into the trash, and so whether they pay or they don't pay, they're allowed to go through the line. And so we've had a couple of years where everyone ate for free, and we're, 2 years back into
Correct, second year back into
charging. And
Correct.
so coming back into charging, and so during my tenure, you know, there's been the $5 cap and the different type of an alternative meal. You have none of that to kind of lean on. So, you know, we've got to think creatively on how we engage these parents. And if they can't pay, we got to try to encourage them to come out, fill out a form. Then those meals would not be charged to the district. But at the conclusion of the year, this is an area that we have to clean up and zero out. So if we zero out the food service charges and the transfer to Fund 1, that's a total subtotal of $50,442, which takes your overall fund balance for Fund 2 to roughly $3.1 million. Okay? So that's that says, as of now, we've got roughly that amount in Fund 2. When we look at Fund 3, looking at the right-hand side, the reason I wanted to do this is we've had some pretty large expenditures finalizing the payment of the turf. We had another expense on some HVAC that are outstanding expenses here that's coming out of Fund 3 that the board's already approved, and we're just completing those projects. But we were at 649, and with the deduction of those two within the subtotal, that's a total of 467. If you take that off of Fund 3 balances, that leaves you with a opening Fund 3 balance of $182,000. So Fund 2, by law, can only be roughly 20% of the overall revenue that you're receiving. And our number is coming in this year roughly at 2.85 to 2.9. That would be the very max that you could carry in Fund 2. The recommendation that I'm making, and it's solely up to the discretion of the board, but what I'm making a recommendation to do would be to open up your Fund 2 balance at roughly $2.7 million, transfer $451,979 into Fund 3, and you would have an opening unallocated Fund 3 balance of $634,000. If you felt like you wanted to have a slightly larger building balance, you could take that to a $2.6 million. That note that I gave you was a document that Ray Beardsley gave me back in the month of June, indicating that you could go as low as 2.6. You should not go any more than roughly 2.8, because 2.8 gets us too close to the cap. And I talked to him on the phone today, and part of the new law requires you, for every dollar you're over, you got to give $1 back to the state to keep $1. So you don't want to mess with the 20% threshold in terms of the cap. So you get penalized if you keep a Fund 2 balance that's above 20%. So that gives you a generalized summary of what we could do with the transfer and get everything opened up. I think that's a conservative approach in balancing everything out. If the board's discretion would be to see that building fund balance as far as Fund 3 at $734,000, then I would authorize Tanya to open us up at 2.6 on Fund 2 and 734 on the other fund. If there's you're looking at that as a board collectively, we'll allow you to respond. If you're looking at that collectively and you feel like that is a number you just don't want that much in the building fund, then you could always move the 2.7 to 2.8. And with that, I'd take any questions you might have.
Okay, so I do, okay. What is Fund 6?
That is your federal funds, and they're all restricted.
Okay. Okay, so I was noticing that, and I don't know how this document is prepared, but I was noticing that on the June year-to-date summary, when I pulled up the prior month year-to-date summary, the ending balance normally is the beginning balance for the next month, and it's off.
Okay.
In Fund 2 and in Fund 6. So I just want to make sure that these numbers are accurate.
I believe they're accurate.
Okay.
You're gonna have transfers.
There's transfers that.
Yeah, but your beginning balance should be what last month's ending was, correct?
Unless you transfer.
Not necessarily, because you
After
still
the
have
ending
transfers that occur from one fund to the other. I would ask you the
Well-
question, in total funds, is the total fund allotment accurate from
So I'm looking,
year-to-date comparatively to the beginning balance within that month? Because that takes care of all transfers. In the first place, I always look to see if there's an error, to see if your total cash is
Okay.
off. If your total cash is off, then there's an error.
so I was just looking at, so let me, hold on. Maybe I'm looking at, so if I'm looking at the June year-to-date summary,
Well, I need to find it,
okay,
because I can't tell you what you're looking at.
the grand total of all funds was $6,475,000. So the beginning balance for July should be $6,475,000. But it's showing here as $6,744,000. And all I want to do, and I noticed that the beginning balance on Fund 6 was quite a bit larger than it ended. And I just want to make sure that what we're looking at are accurate numbers, because I don't know if.
Lord, I wouldn't want to say the same.
So on Fund, on Fund 6, that is one, it's basically a reimbursement. There are allotments, and you do not receive the funds until you've expended the funds. So what I would assume what you're seeing there is there have been expenses, and so there have been revenue to offset those expenses, and it wouldn't line up on.
But it's never
a
equal.
basis.
It won't be equal.
You gotta spend it before you can
Right.
receive.
But if this is a snapshot of the checkbook,
Yes.
okay?
Uh-huh.
I
balance.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't have an answer to
Beginning
you
should be
right
the same
now.
as your end.
The beginning balance should be last month's ending balance, because there can't be anything that transpires between June 30th and July 1st.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they have, the ending has to be beginning.
No, I get you. I don't know the answer.
And
I was
so-
just trying to figure out.
Yes, either the revenue reimbursement happened in June or it happened in July. And I do see that we got some revenue and had some expenditures in July. Did not have no expenditure. Well,
But
yeah,
the revenue difference between June and what we received in July is almost $1 million. It's almost 700,000.
Come on in, I knew you were here.
talking about you.
Now,
It's probably the bank rec. Y'all had the board meetings so early that I can't get the bank rec reconciled to make the reports with.
The
what they
June
should be.
report,
You can't look at June compared to July because I have a period 13 where I do a
That's
bunch
what
of
we're trying to-
transfers and move
Gotcha.
money around between funds.
I understand period 13. That I understand. Okay, so that would explain the difference in the closing balance for June 30th.
Yes, and it won't look like this next month either because of the period 13 stuff that I have to move from Fund 2 down to Fund 8, like he was just explaining on that paper.
Mhm.
So we're
These
gonna take
walls
some
must
money
be
out of
thin.
Fund 2, and we're gonna move it down to Fund 8 to pay off. She always said stays here through the meetings, because she and I debrief.
I was like, maybe these walls are really thin, and she just.
She's got Facebook Live.
He was like, "Please."
She's watching us on Facebook.
I know you're back there.
She came in like the police, though, didn't she? She was like,
She
"What
did.
the-"
I appreciate that
I
though.
did, yeah.
It's the
Because-
bank rec and the period 13 that kind of makes it look wonky right now.
So I do understand that, and that explains it, because I look back and month to month, the ending balance is the opening
Always,
balance
yes.
for the next month, and
We
then the ending is the
also-
opening.
Have to close everything June 30th. So if we have revenue that hasn't been entered, it goes in period 13, and there's nowhere to report that other than it's going to show up on the July 1.
Okay,
But it's not gonna show up.
That could be the, that makes.
that's what it is, it's that
that's-
period
that
13
went up,
that
yeah.
happens between June and July.
Yeah. But it doesn't happen until August
Well,
or
You
later.
won't see
Toward the end
it.
of
You won't
August,
see
before you'll see it.
13 until.
Like on the next sheet
August or
that y'all
September.
have,
yeah,
it's like estimated and probable and
yeah,
So once we get through establishing those beginning balances, what you'll begin to see, once we finalize the transfers, your year-to-date will take you back to the origination of the beginning balance, and then take you moving forward, and would be next month when you see these financials would be reflective of all expenditures in the month of August.
okay. That was my only real big question, was why don't these numbers match? And
most
so,
months
I mean,
out of June and July, anytime after that, they're usually right on.
Yes.
Unless I have something wrong with the bank rec, or we got some revenue in that had to go in the prior month.
yeah. Okay, and usually they're spot on, ending to beginning, so thank you for that explanation, because that makes perfect sense. And,
So any other questions relevant
got
to
it here.
the level of transfer?
no,
Do you want to open with 2.7 and 6.34?
Yes.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I mean, you could take it down to 2.6, but, I'm not hung up on that. I mean,
I'm just
Do we have,
I'm
do we have
asking-
other projects in the building?
You will have, you do have a couple of
I'd like that.
capital improvement projects that you were wanting to look at.
We're gonna have
That's
stuff.
I like the
what I thought you said.
2.6 just because, I mean,
yeah,
That's where I'm
we've got
at.
a bunch of stuff on that you can see.
Yeah, we got a lot of things we're wanting to accomplish. I'd like to see that other 100,000 in that.
in the building fund.
Yes.
And I'm
That's
good
where
with
I'm at.
that. I can live with 2.6.
All right, so based on board consideration, we'll open at 2.6 and the building fund would then open at 7/34/033.
Yes.
Okay?
Board's good with that? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
So, do they need to act on this resolution
No.
that you passed? No, okay.
Because what they've done is just authorized us to open, make that transfer.
And then they'll approve the budget.
Yes.
All right, I just. you
Yeah.
handed
So when
that out.
we set the budget that you'll be looking at coming up, we'll be working off of 2.6 in your Fund 2, and we'll be working off of 634, but as you noted in here.
734, right?
or excuse me,
Yeah.
734
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Yep.
Because we're going 2.6 and an additional 100,000 into the Fund 3. At this point, we've not approved any Fund 3 allocated projects. We've got a couple of things we were looking at, but we've taken no action to do any additional projects out of Fund 3.
Okay.
So we've completed roughly, Hayden and I talked to Tanya, we think we got everything covered that you approved. And what I've tried to do is have a budget that's reflective of the maintenance related to capital improvements, and then major projects that the board wants to engage in, they utilize the building funds for that purpose, and that is the Fund 3. This is a reflection of just us kind of starting the year as it relates to July of 2023. These are estimated at this point, and got a typo there, but last year's budget kind of was reflective of the total as it relates to property taxes, state revenues. The only thing that I've not helped Tanya kind of set is we've had half a year's collection under the new assessment levels. We'll be picking up our new appraisal values in the fall that we didn't, we picked up some of that in the spring, but those who pay later, we'll have those new appraisal values of collection, so we really can't look what we collected in the prior year fall to what we'll be collecting this year in the fall. We'll just have to take a percentage of how that went with the spring, and that's how we'll estimate that overall revenue.
Because it's going to be larger
Yes.
this fall than it was last fall.
Yes. So that's really enough with the current numbers. I'd say overall, the fiscal health of the district remains very solvent and solid, ending the year when we kind of talked about that year end and looking at those expenditures, if going back to that July report, we had roughly what we viewed as a $250,000 surplus when we were looking at expenses over revenue. We've had some different things that have kind of occurred. Property insurance, I brought that to your attention. We've got a couple of potential expenditures for consideration. I listed one. I don't know where it will fall out, but that's the next item on the agenda. And I attended a meeting with AWIN. That is a countywide communication system. Currently, we work off of a VHF type communication system here locally within the district. You see our radios that we have here locally. Chief has one as well. At a minimum, we'll be purchasing. Now we have channels available through AWIN where Chief could communicate back to Garland County or state police. Those channels have been approved and authorized. The dilemma we run into with that radio is when that radio begins to maneuver around into the buildings, there's areas where that radio will have no signal.
Yeah.
These BDAs provide a signal boost within the inside of our facilities. Garland County has come up with a potential cost-effective solution for countywide schools. I'm going to learn a little bit more as we come back together in a month, because they were reliant upon Lakeside and Hot Springs getting city money, and so they're going back after maybe the possibility of that occurring, and these are some of the last, they call them ARP funds, and as it relates to federal money that the county still has access to, and this would enhance communication for life safety, and so it's a pretty hefty cost, as you can see, for each district, but 75% of that overall cost would be covered by Garland County, and then 25% of that cost would be covered by districts. Some districts may not participate. We don't know that everyone's going to have the availability to participate based on property insurance increases, based on salaries and learns and other related things, it's kind of hit, timing, as we talked with the judge, is not great because everybody's into a budgetary year being handed, but this has been I'd say a 14-month project from one of the first meetings that we had, wouldn't you think?
I'd say so.
So please stay updated on, and I'll bring back to you more accurate information in September, where one of two things will happen. They'll onboard the other two school districts under the same ratios, or there could be the potential that everyone receives a reduction and it comes in at roughly a little over 50%. Because if you include, there's only $2 million in the pot. And so if the county splits the $2 million up among all 7 schools versus 5 of the 7, it changes the percentage.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask, if somebody doesn't participate, that will change.
And we don't know if say 3 schools decide they don't have the money and they can't spend it, does that take us up to 90%?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
You don't, okay.
Right. And two, one thing on, just the whole reasoning behind all this is, this is not just for law enforcement. So, I mean, if first responders are on our campus, first responders as in anything, EMS, fire department, Arkansas State Police, Gorham County, Hot Springs PD, outside of our campus, on our grounds, everybody communicates that A1 towers right behind Fox Pass. As soon as you go into any building on campus, they came and did a full test on every single building, we had 0 pass. So, part of the whole reason is, we want to get cheap radio for the last 3 years. You'd have to go outside to make the call versus, no signal inside. So that's kind of the whole aspect of what's going on. You're trying to get that A1 signal into our buildings.
Right.
And AWIN is something that Bo Robertson was pushing several years ago. Talking
Yeah,
about
there's
the
been,
importance of
I'm
that.
not gonna go into all the history of, we went and submitted to state police and where all of that fell out. What I can convey to the board is we do have approval for channel access, which number one, that's awesome. And with that gives us the latitude to purchase the radio and have that communication available. Worst case scenario, we wouldn't have communication in certain areas of our buildings. This gives us a foolproof solution where there's communication throughout all of our facilities. But when we purchase that radio to the tune of probably $5,000, puts him in a position to be able to work directly with those emergency response entities.
Right.
So wanted to bring that to your attention tonight, since that is information that I have available. It should, in some fashion, I think it'll change, and I'll bring those changes to you next month.
Okay.
I do want to remind you that we're trying to put together kind of a back-to-school event, talk to the coaches back in June about what's it look like when we try to come back to school this year. And we've kind of put together opportunity partnership with First Security, plan on picking up a grill down there. They're going to donate. We're going to grill probably 500 dogs at no cost, and they're going to provide all the condiments, and so we'll do that. We'll have a ribbon cutting. Probably try to get all of the part with the board rolling very early on, from roughly 6 until no later than 6:30 or 6:15. We'll probably be out of the way sooner, but want to acknowledge the sponsorships, the work that everyone's put into the project, and we've invited all of our fall sports, all the athletes, Pee-wee, all of those. We're not going to go through an entourage of individual names, but we're going to have some different activities, acknowledge those groups, and try to have a good time with everyone, get everybody back to school. Hopefully looks like we're getting a break in the heat the next 2 days, and it's going to go right back to what we've had, so just plan accordingly.
Now, what time do you need us there?
No later than 5:45
Okay.
would be good, and then that way you're there. I'm hoping that we kind of get to do our piece first to get us started. Okay?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
There's our
Alexa
AI, our
is not
AI
sure.
yeah.
Sorry, Alexa.
So look forward to that as far as an event.
That's this Friday. All right.
All right, so this is just an overview of kind of capital improvements, and we'll mix of everything. that's kind of on the summer. First screenshot here is our solar farm. So we're able to have full access to this. Part of our Monday back with all of our teachers, I went through part of these slides with them and had one follow up with me. So we do have one class in high school that now has access to this, just to study kilowatt usage over time. And so kind of excited about the educational side that we're actually able to tie into. But
Nice.
kind of just a screenshot of what's going on. Great performance. I think the next slide, Mr. Kimball. Oh, I took it off. I had on there for our staff. I didn't want to get into in the weeds with y'all since you already know about the project. But pretty much only thing I would say that was on that slide is our rates have gone up again. Back when we approved this project, our energy cost was around 13.5 cents per kilowatt. If you remember, it is up to 18 now. So pretty big jump, but since our partnership with Scenic Hill Solar, we're still at just a hair over 6 cent per kilowatt rate. So working phenomenal, and even that cloudy day, I think it was from a cloudy day there that we had our staff meeting in rain that day. Right. So that's a really good kilowatt usage. So that was 1.97 megawatts, and that was about noon on that rainy day on Monday.
Wow.
Next one.
Cool.
So we kind of started off the summer with football stadium. I know Dr. Murphy and Coach Carter went up and looked at many schools, walked on many turfs, and put that project out for bid. And we were very lucky and blessed to select ATG. Here's some of the construction photos here. We did repaint the goalpost. Really good. When this team came in, we got one of the best in the state that ATG has. Very particular about everything they do. The edging around the whole field, the nailer board that we had to replace, that was a slightly, I think about $1,800 change order we had to do. They did a phenomenal job. Very pleased to walk on it. If you have not been up there yet, I encourage all y'all to do so. Walk on the field. It feels very, very nice.
And then we did have, as part of that change order, a little bit of drainage areas that
Yes.
they had found a collapsed drain down
Correct.
another area.
Yeah, we always had, if you're looking at this photo, the top left, where it said on the S on Cobras,
Yes.
we've always had some really tough drainage issues right there where water would really stay on a heavy downpour. It stayed just on top of the surface. So during the rip out to that old turf, they found 2 drain lines that had collapsed. So they were able to make those repairs, and so far, last few rains it's held up phenomenal. Drains excellent. While we were there, we did a little bit of work on the press box, new roofs. That left picture was the old decking, completely rotted through.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a much needed upgrade and kind of a small cost to us, but wanted to really address it while we're there. I talked about Austin painting earlier. This is one of the projects that he did. We painted the full press box up there on the top right, the whole.
Looks so good.
Go back here. The left side, the whole field house, exterior, FCA room, exterior, weight room, exterior, all that got a full paint job on it. Turned out very nice, really made all that yellow lettering really pop.
Yeah.
We painted the archway where it says Larry Beckham Memorial Stadium, and turned out very nice. The second project we really started on was drainage and erosion control. If you've driven through the campus, you've seen this area. If you remember that that embankment there really went down and just met the road, there was no ditch line. So, for months, for the last at least 3 years, 4 years, you're gonna find, is that a leak over there? What is it? Is it groundwater? We've tested it, but all that water, what we see is just percolation from the mountaintop or hillside coming down, and you can still see a little bit in that ditch today. And it takes about three to 4 days to a week before it finally evaporates or
Does everybody
drains
know
out.
where this location is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Across from the
Yeah.
playground.
So now we've truly made a true ditch line right through there. Plan to put a little bit of rock down and seed it so we can grow a little bit of grass. This was a good project. This is our first project that we partnered with Hill & Cox. If you remember, I put this project out for bid. I think my lowest bid came out like around $42,000. And just since Hill and Cox does so much work with a specific concrete vendor, they were able to get this down to 38 for us, so we saved a little bit of money. So we went with Hill and Cox for this, and here's the before that they're doing their forms. And then there's a finished product, turned out very nice. Yeah, if you remember, that's been on our list for a while, at least for the past 3 years or so, and we were very happy to get it knocked out.
And we changed if you recall, the stem wall was gonna take us to a level where we're gonna have some engineering specs,
Right.
and we blew our number up, so what we ended up doing was kind of, it reflects the stem wall from the roadway, but it's just kind of a 3-to-1 that we poured off the side of that, and was able to kind of keep that number down. Probably another 10 grand over what it would have been if we went
Right.
the other way, maybe 15 is what it would have cost us if we had went this.
Yeah, I like it.
Middle school security upgrades. This is a fun project, and it turned out very nice. Another Hill and Cox project on this one. If you remember, the middle school entryway had a door right where that white cutout is, where you can see the drywall getting repatched on the left-hand side. Had a window and a door that got removed. A glass fascia got put up with a little fur-down wall. 2 transaction speakers and pass-through windows were installed there. To the right is where we did some security bollards and kind of placed those where we could. We had a lot of utilities running right through there. We had some 3-phase from energy coming right through, so that'd be kind of particular where we placed everything and kind of determined where the awning actually landed. But there's the final product.
So good. Oh, nice.
Did we get that shatter film? Is
It
it on yet?
It goes on probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, auditorium flooring, that was another good project, kind of a much overdue area there. I'd like to come back maybe next summer and redo the walls and all that coloring to get away from that burgundy color and really just help match and tie in the floor, potentially. We moved the preschool playground next to Safer and B. We originally planned on putting the slide and all that equipment inside the fence. We found out once we had 811 come out that we had way too many, you had roughly 5 utilities in one spot, and it would have been too much to work around. So we do have elite fencing and iron out there right now. The fencing came in, and they're going to start today. There's temporary fencing around it right now, so the kids aren't just running freely out there. So there's some galvanized fencing, but elite fencing and iron is putting up the fence starting today.
So go back on that playground. So at the old playground, weren't there 2?
Yeah, there were 2 sets. That other one was in very bad shape.
Okay.
So it
Is
was.
this the one that had the awning over it?
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
gonna bring the awning over here?
We could. That'd be a heavy
We haven't decided.
expense.
Okay.
I mean, just a rough guess, you're probably looking at 40 grand.
Okay, just to
to move it.
relocate that?
Just to relocate it. It may be a little bit more.
So they'll just get hot.
It'll get a little bit warm right there.
It's gonna be warm.
The good thing is, on that whole play area, since we are fencing in the whole front of Safer and B, all that grass area is right next to that hill embankment. So, probably about 10 to 15 foot come off that bank is a big shaded area. So there is a large grass play area they can go into.
Is this what I see there, that is the entirety of the playground, or you're saying there's more?
There's more to it.
There's
Yeah,
more to it, they
everything on
don't
the
stay
end-
right there in that little,
Everything on the front side of Safe Room B.
Okay.
It's currently fenced in, and
Okay.
take it all the way around to the edge, all of that.
is play area.
Yes, and so
Okay.
the only piece we're gonna monitor to see whether we have an issue or not is there's a sidewalk that allows you to go in. At this point in time, we're gonna let the kids play in all of that space in there and the play equipment.
Okay.
And it'll all be fenced.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we'll use
I
the
like
building, the front of the building as part of our fence.
Right.
We'll
Yes.
use that perimeter edge of the building.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, moving on down, we always have a really good partnership with Dell or Mitchell Steel Coatings. He came in and did a good roadway overlay for us, and
Looks
Had a lot of very, very positive comments on that. And again, middle school, at least since I've been here, or since I think it's ever been put down, the middle school front parking lot's been restriped before, but never seal coated. And again, just all those cracks in that current asphalt, that rain freezes, more cracks come. So just seal coat and then crack seal.
They did crack seal and seal coat.
Yes, we crack seal every location. It looks very nice. So we plan on not to do any more of that until probably about at least another 3 years from now. We kind of knocked out a big chunk of it this summer. Really, the only area on campus that's left, it has a little bit of life in it, is the parking or the driveway going up from Faison Drive. So they're along K1. You can call it like an alligator back, but just all the broken up asphalt. It's manageable right now. We're monitoring it. In the next 2 years, that'd be a full rip and replace in that area. There's no way for us to go over that, just because of curb and gutter, or current curb and gutter. This is a B&L job. We paved, gave us a great price on this. We paved from roughly where the cafeteria, where you can see here in the picture, that indoor, kind of where the high school side of the cafeteria is, and stopping pretty much close to the football field north entrance. And this is just an overlay. This was not a rip and replace. So this is roughly 1.5 inches compacted, and it did bring us back up to grade on some of our gutters. I can barely see in that far right-hand picture where that gutter had risen up, or the current asphalt had sunken down. So the leaves really fixed our water issue in that area too.
Don't have standing water there.
Correct.
Good.
What about the park right behind the auditorium? When are they gonna fix that big dip? I think we had a water leak there at one time.
Well, those are fixed.
Are they fixed now?
Yeah, we fixed those this summer. Yeah, Dell fixed those for us when we did.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We
I
had,
think
we had
they're
a,
fixed.
yeah,
Yes.
we had a place where it was about half the summer where it had sunk down after we fixed that water leak. Yeah, that was paved over again.
Yep. Yeah, let's take over. Part of another painting project that Osmond did for us. This building was looking pretty bad on the outside. Probably the first paint job that's had in at least 15 to 20 years, and really dressed that neck with all after. This is a little bit dated. I had this printed our staff last Monday. So if you remember in the K1 building, I'm looking at the far picture on my left, where it says storage there. So in the K1 building, at one point they extended or expanded the K1 hall itself. So that brick wall that you see there that's not painted on the left was actually the exterior of the K1 at one time, from what I'm told. And so we opened that back up to a hallway. I don't have a picture tonight, but we just finished that job this past Saturday, so it's fully operational today. We added a drop ceiling there, fresh paint. Josh waxed that floor, painted the steps, security cameras, fire alarm, all the work's went into it. And now that wing of the K1 can easily access.
So now you have two different egress points out of the elementary side of the cafeteria.
Right.
So you can rotate kids in and out of that space depending on class
Gotcha.
changes
Yeah.
and which way you want them to line up. They could actually come down this hallway and hit the serving line and stay stacked in that area while some others may be leading out. So it gives us some flexibility that we didn't have before.
Turned out very nice. Door
No
was
one
swinging.
probably ever knew it was there.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't walk through it. It was kind of pile full of stuff.
And that kind of takes us to our next picture. I thought about doing this project a while ago, and Dr. Murphy and I have been talking about doing that picture on the upper right for a while too. So just having extra storage somewhere for our faces, and then just kind of just bulk stuff that may have been in that storage room. Hardly any storage anywhere in the K1 building.
That's
So,
the end of the cafeteria.
That is the
Yeah.
end of the
Where
cafeteria.
the green light, red light used to kind of hang down there on that end.
And that job has been finished minus the locks. We're still waiting for the locks to come in. That
So that'll be
locks all the
lockable
cabinets.
storage
That's
across
just
the
cabinets.
Yeah, so all the games and different things they use in faces, they can get
Okay.
access to them, use them,
Nice.
put them back up
Nice.
out of that
Clean.
space.
Yeah. And kind of the last project that's just hanging out there that we're waiting on is the bottom right-hand picture. Since we now send a lot of high school kids and middle school kids really go down, or used to go down a 4-foot sidewalk and go through a 4-foot gate and really get bottlenecked. We had lots of referrals for discipline issues there at that bottleneck over the years from middle school, and always there that me and Mr. Freeman have always watched. And so we're turning that to an 8-foot sidewalk, 8-foot ramp probably going down.
Nice.
So that ramp will be a nice, very grippy, pretty much just bed liner ramp that goes down with handrails on the side. So that was planned to do the week the teachers came back on that Thursday, and it rained. And to get this area, we can't just drive a concrete truck down there to it. It's too tall, so we had to do a pump truck to get to this location, and that pump truck could not come the following day, so we're planning on this Thursday pumping some concrete at that location.
We currently have it completely blocked off
Yeah.
on both ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're using, as you can see, that retaining wall there. The retaining wall keeps them from being able to,
Yeah.
as an egress point.
Next on the TV building. And while we were there too, we did add irrigation, because when we did that project, we never, when we built that retaining wall, block wall and all the side, we never put irrigation there, so we added that water and all that out. I'm gonna go through this pretty quick since it's getting kind of late on time. One thing on the technology side we announced this summer was Kanji, just a way to better manage all of our Apple devices on our campus. Every teacher has a Mac. Pretty much the biggest push for Kanji was making sure all of our apps stay updated. We can protect our Windows computers, our Macs the best we can. And this day and age, these third-party apps are getting hit extremely, extremely hard, whether it's just denial of service attacks, phishing attacks, whatever it may be, and that's not phishing like you're
Right.
on the lake. But, so best example I would give you, like I gave our staff, is these hackers now target, like say, Adobe Reader. Everybody has Adobe Reader on their machine. When a teacher now gets a pop-up, they have 1 week to approve these updates, so it doesn't have to be immediate. We say, hey, 1 week and install this Adobe Reader update for us. But say if Adobe Reader gets hacked, that version that's currently on their machine is vulnerable, so hackers have a gateway right to their machine, even though their operating system is completely patched. So Mac OS can be completely patched, Windows can be completely patched, but since a third party, Adobe Reader got compromised, that's a backdoor into a machine. So Kanji finally lets us, or we've never had a program to keep all our third-party apps updated. So that's what this does for us. So, and much, much more. It's a full device management for all of our apps products. So I'm very excited to roll that out.
Interesting.
And it's been pretty good success so far.
Tell them how many times a day that somebody tries to get in the system.
Oh, I mean, it really could honestly require another full-time person, but I mean, we're getting hit 16 to 30,000 times a day.
What?
Oh, yeah.
By
Yeah.
who?
Russia, biggest one. Oh yeah, we have to block countries and a lot of stuff like that. We could have a whole night just on cybersecurity.
Our company gets about 100,000 a day because we move money.
Our business must not be important to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't think we get any.
Yeah. I mean, we have, I mean, just compared to other schools, I mean, you look at, we're running more devices on this network than Lakeside and Lake Hamilton. So we have tons and tons of devices to manage with,
Yeah.
2 technicians.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we keep all of our networks completely separated out. So, your home network is one network. So we have roughly probably 40 running here on this campus to keep everything separated. So just a quick example, say if middle school got hit by a virus, it can't spread to high school or elementary or admin. It's at least isolated. So we call that a VLAN, but I'm not getting all that. I showed this to our staff. Pretty much told them what network there's something to stay on. For y'all, we did some upgrades to our Cobra Guest network where we can support now up to 8,000 devices, personal devices on our network. So if a guest is coming in, you can hop on that network and you're good to go. Fully CIPA compliant, perfect compliant, and you're good. I'm not moving quick, I'm trying to go through these. CrowdStrike was another program we put in place for threat monitoring. This is a really big AI-powered back-end monitoring solution for all of our computers. We've had plenty of programs in the past, Bitdefenders who we're replacing. A slightly cost increase on this than what we paid before, but big as example, like I gave our teachers, let's just say trademark, realty got hit with the virus. Or I gave them, say, Sony. When Sony got hit with a huge multi-billion-dollar virus from ransomware that took them out last year, whenever a company gets hit and they are, say, if this is a virus, we're going to create a new token, say, okay, this is the virus, here's how we identify it. So if Sony got hacked tomorrow, we would already know about it, our future machines would be patched the next day, or immediately. So
CrowdStrike,
with
because
CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike
Yeah,
watches
it's a
hits everywhere.
correct. So even if you're another software vendor, say you're an older McAfee, or if it's Norton or whatever it may be, and say if someone gets a virus or ransomware in another country, as long as it's detected, you know, in the cloud of what we call, you know, everything security related, we can take that data and attach our future machines instantly without me or John doing anything. It's all automatic. This is another service that we introduced this summer as well, just to help better manage all of our print dashboard, print services. We currently in the past had a print server as a middleman, where say the teacher or anyone in this building sent a print job to go to a server first and then back to the printer. Print servers are extremely old school and really hard to manage as the world, you know, continue to move, you know, away from printing. We still do a lot of printing here and have to support that. So this is like what it's called, Direct Print IO. It is a software solution where we can now manage all of our printers directly from a machine and not a server. So we can still push out printers to all future machines from a dashboard and still get print qualities, print queues, like you can see in the last 7 days how much money we've spent on printing. And the best thing is all this things with Google. So if you have a Google account, it's very easy to deploy all this stuff. So these last 3 programs that I've shown you all have Google logins. So
Single sign-on.
single sign-on.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Last thing, all of our teachers have extensions. So every teacher on this campus has a phone extension. They can have that on their phone. They can have that on their computer. And we just announced another single sign-on with Google for 3CX. So like how Dr. Murphy just said, we're trying to get every single software that we have on our campus single sign-on with just one login. So Conji did that for us on the computer side too. Because in the past, you know, teachers had a computer login plus a login for email. So now Conji did Google integration with that as well. So now one program, login for everything. Part of the 3CX1 project that we are working on, this will be a slow implementation. We hope to have this done for sure by December would be a good goal. So currently you can start a phone call on that program that you saw before on the 3CX. You can start a phone call on our Wi-Fi in the 2-4 building and walk all the way down to where that green ends without dropping a call. You may say, no big deal, you know, cell phone signal's been around forever, but you know where we sit. You know, we're down in a huge hole. We have cell phone towers all around us. You go up to the football field or the bus garage, you have full service. So just getting our teachers where they can use a mobile app and walk like they expect to and have service. So every time we put up outdoor Wi-Fi at this point, it costs us roughly $1,300. So we're trying to be very particular to replace these. You gotta keep them somewhat close together because you're literally passing that traffic between access point and access point as they walk. So on the design side, we gotta be very particular when we replace them. So.
And that dialogue with that teacher, they may be on their individual cell phone, but if they're going through the app, it masks and gives them the school number with their extension.
Yes.
So it's not requiring them, they have the flexibility to use their own phone if they choose, but they're going through and using voice over IP through the school, so it doesn't disclose their cell number.
Correct. Yeah. This is one of this for our staff as well. Kind of just focus on the white bar. This is kind of the home screen that every teacher or anyone that has a laptop issued from our district sees as their homepage. They kind of open up their machine and go to Google. We have book a facility. We did new facility booking software this summer just to eliminate any double bookings that we may have. There's the actual website. So you can book a facility, book a vehicle. You can, the teachers with prior approval from their administrator can book a bus, book a field trip. They can also do their maintenance tickets and technology tickets from this location as well.
That's kind of the teacher homepage,
Mm-hmm.
getting access to content.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay. I took off quite a few, I think, for the board.
But you were gonna tell us, because on our tap.
Oh, no, that wasn't
No, no.
it.
That's
Yeah,
what it
sorry,
is.
I thought I had more.
Oh, there's a car
There he
line.
is.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna tell us
We're
about that.
trying to get you done.
Yeah.
We're trying to move it on.
That's right.
We
So-
ordered breakfast, okay?
You want breakfast?
Yeah.
So we're excited about this. This is gonna be at least a 1 to 2 week implementation before it's working correctly. And that's gonna be the same for any school. Our biggest issue is gathering license plate data. And knowing the fact that mom or dad may come one day in different vehicles and grandma and grandpa may come the next, or by the way, aunt may come pick them up. So just getting that database built of license plate numbers
Yeah.
is gonna take a little bit longer, but we're currently starting using this today.
And so you're taking that plate and attaching it to the individual child.
Correct. So hit the next slide for me. So this is what we use now. So when you approach any building office, we have school pass visitor management. So that's what we have a kiosk for here, middle school, high school, elementary. A visitor walks up to, takes their ID out, it scans, it does a warrant check, background check, sex offender check, all in real time. That background or that process updates every 2 weeks for new data. So we're currently using them for that. Next slide.
And then they print, put that on,
Put that
to
badge on.
acknowledge that they went to the office.
Right. So now what we announced, kind of right before open house was that parent app. Really beneficial in your elementary schools, but we'll have it available for high school and middle school as well. Again, the goal is reduction of handwritten notes. So mom gives Sally a note to give to the teacher, to give to the bus driver, that may never happen. So just to help eliminate handwritten notes, it's never gonna go away.
Right.
But just to reduce them as much as we can. So mom, dad, guardian over that child can go to this app and you can say, I'm gonna be in a carpool line today, or I'm gonna be a bus driver this day, I can pick my bus, what I wanna go on. If I'm sick, absent, doctor's appointment, I can do all that through this app now. And that goes straight to our secretary's workstations.
Cool.
Yeah, so lots of big benefits there, but again, it will be a work in progress just to get one, just so parents can have,
Mm-hmm.
or, what's that?
License plate readers?
What's it? Well, yeah, that's what this one is. But it's gonna take, on the last slide, it's gonna take a while just to get all that parent data in this system. So we're hoping within 2 weeks, we're rocking and rolling.
And then,
And we're gonna kind of, just so you know, we've asked parents to solicit that, but we're gonna gather it through our traditional approach. You know, how we always have somebody on the radio that's saying so-and-so's next.
Yes.
Well, they're
Right.
gonna be collecting that data, that plate information.
is that
and
gonna
finding that kid.
eliminate somebody having to stand out there with the radio saying?
Probably will never eliminate it, because I don't think you'll consistently have, you'll always have somebody need to pick somebody up.
Then what is the purpose of it?
The purpose of all that, this is all no-cost additions. So the goal of this, the number one goal was we started with iPads on the school buses. That way, when the office secretaries make changes, when mom or dad either calls in, make that change, hey, little Johnny's gonna be a bus driver today.
Right.
And getting that communication back up to our bus garage, back down to the bus. So now the
Or
bus
the car
driver,
rider line.
bus drivers have an iPad app, they can see who the roster is for that on the bus. So if the mom or dad or guardian on their phone say, oh, little Johnny's sick today, now that roster for the bus driver reflects
That he's
that
not.
he's not there.
The other thing
Okay.
it does is it also gives us the ability to identify vehicles coming onto the campus that
Right.
have no business being here. And so if you're in the system and it says, hey, we know you're coming onto the campus, you're picking up a kid, but if you're not in the system, it can flag vehicles at certain times during the day.
Right.
So these license plate readers are not gonna be in the car line. They're somewhere else on campus?
No, there's one.
Yeah, there's one in the car line. There's
a car
three
line, there's
total.
one down here on the entry onto the campus.
Okay.
So if we have someone, say with a warrant that we don't want on our campus, or chief that say it off, we can get a
Or
license
security.
plate, we can put it in the system, and it'll flag us, it'll text us right when they come on
Okay.
campus.
So this could be real good when we have a child custody issue.
Definitely.
Correct.
Okay.
And those, and making sure that we get the child with the right person.
Right.
What does a check-in look like? So it's on a kiosk? I missed that.
For our visitor management, Yeah, so all of our buildings have a little iPad kiosk station, so guest or visitor walks up to that station, gets their ID out, they scan it with the app. Say if they're visiting a teacher, it'll alert the teacher that their guest is here. Same thing for Dr. Murphy, myself, or a principal, lets them know that they're here. But the biggest reason is that it does a registered sex offender check.
Now, we had this last year.
I guess
Yes.
I missed it, but, so they don't go through a secretary?
No, this is completely self-service.
So who screens to make sure that I didn't scan Brian's ID?
They're standing right there in front of you.
I'm just
Right.
making, you know what I mean?
It's
like-
right, the
Sure.
machine's
How do I
right in
know?
front of the secretary.
Right.
So, I mean, the secretary's not ignoring them.
They just don't physically handle an
Correct.
ID.
Well, like in the L, like in the K1, it's outside the window, so she doesn't actually see that screen.
Right.
So I could scan Cindy's ID.
Right.
Well, if she has her screen pulled up, it shows them who's checked in. It shows them on the screen who's there.
On their screen?
Mm-hmm.
So they have a screen too?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all about.
And it also keeps them on the exterior of the facility until we choose to let them in.
Yeah, I didn't know there was two screens.
Right.
Yeah, just their computer,
Dual
it's on a
screen
computer
system.
screen, not another kiosk screen, but on a computer
Okay,
screen.
so it's gonna be like.
Yeah, kinda like
it's gonna
that
be
picture.
like this iPad picture here on the visitor side.
And then that
a little
one-
window like
That's
this.
a secretary.
For the
On
secretary
the
side.
secretary's
I
side.
guess I'm just asking, then they physically look to see, oh yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So they need to have that window open if a
Right.
visitor is up there
Yeah.
doing that.
Right. And normally that window stays open just because, you know, all of our secretaries have buzzers. How we buzz people in, so they check the camera first before they buzz them in, so they usually have that plus their camera screen at the same time.
And now we've also changed the elementary, and you now pass information through, that the window no longer slides open. So it's a pass-through, just like high school, just like the middle school, with microphones at each location.
We can skip over that.
All right.
That is
Um,
the end.
This was, you know, we did swap to Link Nutrition, for all of our free reduced lunch apps. In the past, we had 3 apps before, this is down to 1. So we can do, you can put balances if you're a teacher in your account. If you have children that are still in the school year, you can put them in their accounts, or if you're just a parent, you can put money in their accounts through this. And it is, we'll show lunchroom menus, and you do all your free reduced lunch apps from Link.
And so the application for the free and reduced lunch, but we talked about the charges we have, that's linked to our homepage. Can we, when you have something like this, can you link it?
It's on there.
It's on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And one thing I will
think you sent a
say,
text, district-wide text.
yeah, I did a district-wide text. I'm probably gonna do one more here soon, probably this week, and probably one more maybe around.
Is that where
November.
Create a Free account is?
It is.
And then you also picked up, you told me 65 or 70 at parent
We had a
orientation.
really
in the
good, yeah, during open house.
Families.
We had,
They filled out the form.
we had 89 new forms, new application submissions, and I think 69 were approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, from open house. And one last thing on Link Connect, we did reduce our fees from $350 to put money on, no, $325 to put money into your account. Just a transaction fee, we reduced that down to $1.50.
Nice.
And yeah, I like it because you can transfer between your kids too.
Yes.
The other one you couldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
you couldn't, other ones.
So the other one, if you had $20 on one and nothing on the other, you
Right,
couldn't.
you had to put money on the
Right.
key.
Yeah. The only slide that we skipped, and I'll talk about it later, is our Verkada cameras. And that's a really big AI thing. We can wait till next board meeting on that.
AI, we don't like it.
Cliffhanger.
We don't like it.
You can use that in good ways and bad ways. So this will identify if someone walks in with a gun or not. It alerts based off
Okay.
of signatures.
Hey,
Too much
Shelby,
AI for
just so you understand, it has the capability, if you want to look for somebody in a red shirt on a bicycle, it'll pull every photo up on every camera that we have with a red shirt and a bicycle.
Yeah.
It's a different
I like
way to
it.
search.
Like, sort of like facial recognition.
Yes.
It has that too.
For a purple shirt on a bicycle, we're in trouble.
Well, the big benefit of that is it reduces, like say, our principals and Chief Riley's time
Yes.
of that hours they spent pulling footage.
Yes.
It's reduced so
Yes.
much quicker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Usually.
welcome.
That's good. That was all good information. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes, ma'am.
what you
So,
got for us?
Very little. Folks have done a great job getting to the point of getting back into school, and Hayden and his group have done a tremendous job. Our administrators and teaching staff, most of them have been here for the last 2 to 3 weeks on the teaching staff, getting all their in-service hours in, getting their classrooms ready, and so we really appreciate all the work they've done. 3 things today: the desegregation lawsuit settlement. We may need to call you back together for a special meeting. We are working with all the school districts' attorney to try to craft a settlement agreement with the NAACP and the plaintiffs in the desegregation lawsuit case. And if we can get that settlement put together, it would require your approval. It would require all the school board's approvals to move forward with that. But we're hopeful that we may be able to reach a settlement. If not, at the end of the month, we will, I believe, go forward and file the suit. And so the lawyers are working with us to prepare our affidavits. Should we have to file suit and go to court to try to reach unitary status. You attended, Ms. Greason attended the annual, which will be semi-annual meeting with the school districts and one school board member from each district, and then the representatives from the NAACP as we reported on the status of the lawsuit settlement that we've been in the process of settling for 30 years. So that's
89.
Since 80, yeah.
Since 1989. Other thing, any questions on that? Just wanted to bring you up to speed there. We had some great back-to-school sponsors. The Hot Springs Village Church of Christ provided lunch for us on opening day. New Life Church provided some delicious jambalaya and on the Wednesday for the staff, and then First Security provided some box lunches for us for open house afternoon, and we really appreciate all of their donations. And then when we talk about the LEARNS Act and just how fluid everything is and how we're waiting for rules and regulations, so we were here last week, and we've been doing our in-service, and on Wednesday afternoon, we had a Zoom that we were invited to view, and in that Zoom it said if you had an elementary school with a D or an F, and you'll remember that we were just barely a D, and it was an attendance issue, attendance accounting issue that knocked us down. Then, based on the LEARNS Act, we would be assigned a Department of Elementary and Secondary Education literacy coach. And so we found that out on Wednesday, and that literacy coach was going to report to us today. So our literacy coach is Amanda Bean, who has worked in the district in the past, works at Dawson Co-op now. She'll be with us 2 days a week working in our elementary, and it's really kind of the best of both worlds.
That's a bonus for us.
She was here with our staff over the summer working on the CKLA rollout, and has worked with the Bauxite District on that in the past, and has worked with all sorts of RISE activities with our staff already. So she'll be on site with us a couple of days a week, at least until the new report card comes out. When the new report card comes out, if we are above D, then they'll reassign her to some other school district. The state hired 75 literacy coaches, and then they are using literacy staff out of the co-ops to fill the other positions, and so we have her 2 days a week. We're sharing her.
Still short of their number on the
Oh yeah,
well short of what they
need,
what they wanted.
Yeah.
But that's just how fluid it is with LEARNS. I mean, that until you got the invitation to the Zoom, we knew they were hiring them, we didn't know what they were gonna do with them, and we still haven't seen all the rules and regulations on lots of other aspects of that
Yeah,
law, so, but she was here today,
good,
so.
awesome.
So those are the things I had to share with you. No one has signed up for public comment.
Big surprise. All right, with that, we'll move into new business. So Brian, what's our first motion?
Motion to place Judy Bryant on the Child Nutrition Director salary schedule.
Okay, any questions on this?
What was the?
We had to have somebody, have to put somebody on there, right?
Yeah, let me give an explanation of it, because we
Judy
placed
Howard.
Tracy Oxner onto that schedule, but it's requiring us to have a director. July 1, part of the rules have changed as it relates to this position. She's actually going and taking a college class at UCA to assume the role, to sign and deal with this. And so we're going to monitor this very closely. This would be the equivalence of, with both of them being placed on this schedule, the allotment would be roughly $10,000 new money between the two of them, because you approved $5,000 for the stipend, and we rolled that into the schedule. Places both of them on the schedule. If we can't cover the duties of this, we'll monitor it closely, but if the duties exceed an acceptable level based on their other roles, then we might have to look at restructuring what that looks like going into next year. But we're going to try to monitor what the state's expecting us to do. Unfortunately, what the state's expecting this year from that position over last year when Judy Howard was doing that under, we were paying her full time to do that. The rules have changed a little bit, and so it's just
More to do?
Yes, there's more to do, and in all fairness to what Judy is having to do, I'm asking for this recommendation to be approved.
Okay. Other questions? All right, the motion is to place Judy Bryant on the Child Nutrition Director salary schedule. All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. That motion is approved 5-0.
Motion to accept the letter of resignation from Mark Burfone for the 23-24 school year.
Boo.
Yeah, hey, Liz.
Mark, if you're watching, that's a big boo. But I know he got a good opportunity at the convention center, so, happy for Mark, sad for us. Okay, we have a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Mark Burfine for the 23-24 school year. All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed. That is approved 5-0.
Motion to hire the following for the correlating positions for 23-24 school year: Colby Salisbury, bus mechanic; Suzanne Seaman, class teacher; Cody Moody, technology assistant; Sarah Smith, district aide; Ashley Macon, district aide; Donna Mears, district aide; Amanda Cobb, faces aide; Paula Evans, faces aide; and Leland Green, faces aide.
Okay. And is Cody the young man I saw walking around with you earlier?
No, that was for our window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this technology assistant will be replacing Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, motion to hire the following for the correlating positions for the 23-24 school year: Colby Salisbury as a bus mechanic; Suzanne Seaman, a classroom teacher; Cody Moody, technology assistant; Sarah Smith, Ashley Macon, and Donna Mears, all district aides; Amanda Cobb, Paula Evans, and Leland Green, all faces aides. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. None opposed. That motion is approved 5-0. Are there any other comments by the school board members before we adjourn our meeting? And I will say for those that are watching online, we will be adjourning into executive session. It will be a non-voting session to discuss employment, and so we will not be coming back online after the executive session. So without anything else from our board members, I'm going to officially adjourn our meeting.